Let's get real for a second. If you want to change your life, you've got to stop living like you're waiting for someone to come save you. No one's coming. No one's handing you greatness. You're not going to magically wake up one day and suddenly be motivated, successful, confident, and built for war. It doesn't work like that. You don't get the life you want by being soft with yourself. You don't break through by playing it safe. And you don't become unshakable by staying comfortable. You've got to become a savage, or you'll stay stuck in the same place, living the same day, over and over again, hoping for something to change when you haven't changed. A savage mentality isn't about being mean. It's about being relentless. It's about being the type of person who doesn't fold under pressure, who doesn't back down when it gets hard, and who doesn't wait for the right moment to act. It's about showing up for yourself even when no one else does. It's about choosing discipline when your body says quit. It's about having a vision so loud, the opinions of others turn into background noise. Because let's face it, life doesn't care if you're tired. Life doesn't care if it's been unfair. Life doesn't ask how you feel before it punches you in the gut. So what are you going to do? Cry forever? Complain? Wait? Or are you going to get up and fight back harder? A savage gets up. A savage doesn't chase motivation. They chase results. They don't need someone to believe in them. They believe in themselves so fiercely that people have to pay attention. They don't scroll for inspiration every day. They become the inspiration. They're built different because they chose to be, not because life handed it to them, but because they made a decision. Let me say this clearly. At some point, you got to get sick of your own excuses. At some point, comfort has to feel more painful than change. At some point, you have to say enough to playing small, to being average, to giving just 40% of what you got in your soul. You want to be great? Then stop talking like you're tired and start moving like you're hungry. You want success? Then stop chasing easy and start building the kind of mindset that can handle hard. Because greatness isn't found in the spotlight. It's built in the shadows. It's earned in the silence. It's born in the moments no one sees, when you're grinding alone, crying alone, working in the dark with no guarantees except the one you gave yourself. I will not stop. That's savage. And it's not a mood. It's not a one-day thing. It's a lifestyle. It's a way of thinking. It's the daily decision to show up as the strongest version of you, even if that version isn't perfect yet. Because let me be real with you, being stuck is a choice. Yeah, life throws curveballs. Yeah, it gets hard. Yeah, you've been through hell. I know, I have too. But what you do with that pain, that's on you. Do you let it crush you? Or do you let it build you? Do you sit in your excuses? Or do you rise with your scars? Do you wait for a sign? Or do you decide to be the sign? Savage mentality says, I don't care how many times I fall. I'm getting up every damn time. I don't care how long it takes. I'm not quitting until I get there. I don't care who doubts me. My vision is louder than their noise. Because staying stuck, that's not your destiny. That's just what happens when you stop believing in your own power. But here's the good news. Your power is still there, waiting for you to wake it up. So yeah, this video is more than motivation. This is a wake-up call. This is your reminder that you don't need to be born a savage. You build one decision at a time, one action at a time, one level up at a time. So what's it gonna be? Stay stuck or flip the switch? Because your future doesn't care what you feel today, but it will reflect what you choose to do next. Now stand up, lock in, move like it's already yours. Because the savage inside you is tired of waiting. And the world hasn't even seen the real you yet. Let's start right here. You will never be savage out there until you get savage in here, in your own mind, in your own habits, in your own self-respect. Because savage mentality doesn't begin with lifting heavy weights or making big money. It starts the moment you say, I refuse to keep betraying myself. That's self-respect. And that's the first switch you gotta flip. You see, the real war is not between you and the world. It's between you and your patterns. Between you and your silence. Between you and the way you keep abandoning yourself every time things get hard. And I get it. We all fall into it. Telling ourselves we'll start tomorrow. Letting people talk to us any kind of way. Saying yes when we know we should have said no. Taking hits we don't have to take because we're scared to speak up, because we don't want to be too much, because we're afraid of losing people who were never real to begin with. But here's the truth. The moment you start choosing you, everything changes. The way you walk changes. The way you talk changes. The way you show up in rooms, in relationships, in your own mirror changes. Savage mentality starts with that line in the sand where you say, I'm done settling. Because look, if you don't respect your time, if you don't respect your energy, if you don't respect your goals, don't expect the world to do it for you. They're watching how you treat yourself, and they mirror it if you keep putting yourself last. They will too if you tolerate chaos. You'll keep living in it. If you allow people to violate your peace, you're teaching them that your boundaries are flexible. And that's where most people stay stuck. Not because they aren't capable, but because they haven't learned to protect what's theirs. And what's yours? Your mind, your heart, your dream, your time, your soul, your damn life. That's sacred, and you got to treat it like it is. Savage mentality doesn't mean walking around with a chip on your shoulder. It doesn't mean acting hard or being angry at the world. It means moving with standards, moving with honor, moving with unapologetic discipline. You start saying no, not out of ego, but out of self-worth. You stop entertaining half love, half friends, half commitments, because you're all in on you now. And if something doesn't meet that level, it doesn't get access. Period. That's self-respect. That's savage. And yes, it'll feel uncomfortable at first. You'll feel alone. You'll question yourself. People will call you different. Too focused. Too cold. Too serious. Let them talk. Because you're not building a life based on opinions. You're building it based on values. Based on vision. Based on purpose. And that requires you to get brutally honest with yourself. Ask the real questions. What have I been tolerating that's killing my spirit? Where have I been quiet when I needed to speak up? What am I allowing in my life that I wouldn't want for someone I love? When you start asking those questions, you start moving differently. And that's when things start shifting. Not because the world got easier, but because you got clearer. Listen, if it costs you your peace, it's too expensive. If it pulls you off your mission, it's not worth it. If it makes you doubt your greatness, it doesn't belong in your circle. And that's the level of respect you need to have for yourself. Not just when people are watching, but especially when they're not. Because a savage doesn't need an audience. They don't need validation. They don't wait to feel ready. They move with purpose because they trust themselves. And that trust, it's built through daily acts of self-respect. Waking up when you said you would. Doing the work when no one's clapping. Resting when you need to, not as weakness, but as wisdom. Holding the line when it's hard. Saying, I'm not available for anything that pulls me backwards. That's power. That's discipline. That's you becoming savage from the inside out. Because once you learn how to treat yourself with the same love, energy, and commitment you've been giving everyone else, you become unstoppable. You become magnetic. You become dangerous, not to others, but to your own limitations. So today's the day you stop waiting. You stop folding. You stop being accessible to every distraction that pulls you off your purpose. You draw the line. You raise the bar. And you look yourself in the mirror and say, from now on, I move like I respect myself. That's the foundation. That's the fire. That's the first step to becoming savage. Everything else is built on that. Let's be honest right now. We all have excuses. We all have reasons. We all have stories we tell ourselves to justify why we aren't where we want to be. But here's the difference between someone who stays stuck and someone who becomes savage. The savage doesn't negotiate with excuses. They hear them and then they shut them down. Because you can't level up and hold on to your excuses at the same time. You can't chase greatness and keep making peace with your limitations. You got to choose. Are you going to live in your excuses? Or are you going to rise through your execution? Because let me be real with you, your excuses, they sound legit. You're tired. You've been through a lot. You don't feel ready. You didn't grow up with support. You're overwhelmed. You're scared. You're busy. I hear it. I feel it. But none of those things change the outcome. None of those things build the life you say you want. And here's the truth no one wants to admit. You either do the work or you don't. You either show up or you sit back. You either find a way or you find another excuse. A savage doesn't sit around debating with their emotions. They move anyway, even when it's hard, even when it's messy, even when no one claps for them, even when they don't feel like it, because they've trained themselves to do what needs to be done, not just what feels good in the moment. That's what separates the winners from the wishers. See, most people never change their life because they're too loyal to their comfort. They think they need more motivation. They think they need more time. They think they need to feel ready. No, you don't need perfect conditions. You need self-control. You need discipline. You need to stop negotiating with your brain every time it tells you to quit. Because let's face it, your brain is built for survival, not greatness. It wants safety, not growth. It wants comfort, not chaos. It wants the easy way out every time. But that's not the voice you listen to when you're building a legacy. That's not the voice that leads a mission. The savage mentality has one answer to that voice. Sit down. I've got work to do. Savages don't argue with weakness. They override it. They rise above it. They move through it. Not because it's easy, but because the purpose is bigger than the pain. Think about it. Every time you give into excuses, you're telling yourself, I don't believe I'm worth the effort. You're saying, this limitation is stronger than me. You're handing your power away. Nah, not anymore. You want to be savage? Then you got to catch those excuses the second they show up and cut them off. I'm too tired. Good. Get stronger. I don't know how. Learn. I've never done this before. Perfect. Time to grow. What if I fail? What if you win? You rewire the script. You flip the conversation. You stop being a prisoner of your own narrative and start becoming the author. Because your excuses don't come from your soul, they come from fear, from doubt, from years of staying small and safe. But that's not who you are anymore. Not if you're ready to be savage. Savage doesn't mean perfect. Savage doesn't mean you never fall. It means you don't stay down. It means you don't let the little voice of quit win the battle. Every time you push past an excuse, you get stronger. Every time you shut it down and move anyway, your self-respect goes up, your confidence goes up, your momentum builds. And suddenly, the things that once looked impossible start becoming your new normal. That's the goal. To look back a year from now and laugh at the excuses you used to believe. To realize that the only thing that was ever in your way was you, but you made the decision. You chose execution over excuses. You chose power over pity. You chose the savage route, and now the results speak for themselves. So let me leave you with this. Excuses will always be there. Comfort will always tempt you. Doubt will always whisper. But you've got something louder than all of that. Your vision, your reason, your grit, your savage mentality. That's the real voice now. Let it lead, because excuses, they don't build champions. And you didn't come this far to be average. The dark, the behind the scenes, the late nights, the early mornings when nobody's clapping for you, the quiet moments when self-doubt shows up louder than your own dreams, the times when the whole world's asleep, and it's just you, your grind, your thoughts, and that fire inside your chest. That's where savage mentality is built, not on the stage, not in front of the camera, not when you're winning, but in the shadows, when no one's watching, when nothing makes sense, when you got every reason to quit, and you choose not to. That's the savage difference. See, most people think greatness is this glamorous thing. They think it's all about the results, about the followers, the money, the applause. But those are just byproducts. The real work, it happens in the dark, where there's no reward yet, where it's uncomfortable, where nobody's cheering you on, where you keep going anyway. Because you're not doing it for attention. You're doing it for evolution. And evolution, that happens in silence, in struggle, in pain, in pressure. That's the dark room where diamonds are formed. You think savages are born? No, Savages are made on nights when they feel like breaking, but don't. When they feel weak, but choose to be strong. When they feel lost, but keep moving forward anyway. Every rep in that empty gym. Every study session when your mind is fried. Every journal entry full of tears and truth. Every time you show up for yourself when nobody else does, that's where your edge is carved. That's where your savage is shaped. You want to win when the lights are on? Learn how to grind when it's dark, when there's no instant reward, when you're not seeing results yet, when it feels like nothing's working, but you keep showing up anyway. Because this game is about consistency in silence, not popularity and noise. It's about waking up every day and being the kind of person your future demands, even when today feels heavy. That's what makes you lethal. The ability to do the work without needing recognition. The power to bet on yourself when no one else does. The strength to endure, to outlast, to stay locked in. The world sees the outcome. They see the transformation. They see the wins. But they don't see the hours of doubt you fought off just to take one more step. They don't see the nights you had to wipe your own tears, straighten your back, and keep going. They don't see the silent sacrifices you made, the birthdays missed, the parties skipped, the comfort you walked away from so you could build something greater. That's the savage path. That's the darkness no one talks about. But it's also where the magic happens. Because the longer you stay in the dark, the sharper your focus becomes, the stronger your mindset gets, the louder your why becomes. The dark is where you meet yourself, the real you, the version of you that doesn't need noise to be powerful. When you're in that space, and it's just you and the grind, you stop pretending, you stop performing, you strip everything away until all that's left is truth. And that truth, that's your weapon, that's your anchor. That's what will carry you through every storm, every failure, every test that comes next. Because once you've proven to yourself that you can survive the dark, nothing scares you anymore. Not rejection, not loss, not failure, not opinions. You've already gone to war in silence and came out stronger. You've already faced a mirror and didn't flinch. And that's when everything changes. That's when people start asking you how you did it. That's when the results finally show. That's when the light finally hits you. But by then, you're not even chasing the light, because the savage doesn't shine for attention. They shine because they were built in the dark. So if you're in that dark space right now, if life feels like it's testing you, stretching you, breaking you, good. That's where your savage is being born. Don't run from it. Don't numb it. Don't wait for the light. Become the light. One choice at a time. One decision at a time. One quiet moment of courage at a time. Because in the end, the dark doesn't destroy you. It refines you. And if you can survive that, you can survive anything. You're not weak. You're not late. You're not lost. You're just in the forge. And when you come out, you won't be the same. You'll be savage. You don't have time to explain yourself to people who don't get it. You don't have energy to waste on people who laugh at your goals. Savage mentality means staying focused. It means cutting distractions. It means saying no without guilt. It means disappearing for a while to level up so hard they don't recognize you when you return. You're not for everyone. And that's fine, because the savage doesn't chase approval. The savage chases results, purpose, progress, peace. You weren't born with this mindset. You build it through fire, through every time you got back up when life knocked you flat, through every time you cried but kept moving, through every moment you chose growth over comfort. That's what makes you savage. Not perfection, not fame, not status, but the way you refuse to stay down, the way you talk to yourself, the way you train your mind like a warrior. Because once you get your mind right, everything else will follow. So now you've heard it. The mindset, the grit, the pain, the silence, the choices. The savage mentality isn't some fantasy. It's real, it's raw, and it's built, never given. Now let me say this loud and clear. If you want to win in life, if you want to rise above the excuses, if you want to live at a level most people only dream about, you need to stay hungry. You need that fire in your chest that says, I'm not done yet. You need to wake up every day with something to prove, not to the world, but to yourself. Not because you hate who you are, but because you respect who you're becoming. Hunger isn't about desperation. It's about drive. It's about that inner voice that says, I know there's more in me. I know I got another level. I know this is my final form. You stay hungry, not because you're never satisfied, but because you know growth is endless. You know progress has no ceiling. You know every time you reach a new peak, there's another mountain waiting. And that's what makes you dangerous. Because while everyone else is getting comfortable, while they're getting lazy, while they're letting success make them soft, you're sharpening your blade. You're still pushing, still learning, still evolving, still hungry. That's when people start to fear you. Not because you're loud, not because you're flashy, but because they know you won't stop. They know you've got that silent pressure about you, that no matter how good things look, you're still in the lab, still training, still building. You are the storm they didn't see coming. That's dangerous. That's what makes champions. That's what separates leaders from followers. That's what makes lions out of lambs. See, most people peak once and fall off. They hit a milestone and let it define them. They achieve one thing and cling to it like it's the best they'll ever be. But not you, because you're not built like that. You didn't come this far to settle. You didn't go through all that pain, all that growth, all that darkness, just to level off and get comfortable. You're here to dominate, to lead, to evolve until your past self wouldn't even recognize who you are now. And that takes hunger, relentless, unapologetic, fire-breathing hunger. But it also takes danger, not in the way the world fears, but in the way they feel when you walk in a room. It's the danger of someone who has nothing to prove but everything to protect. The danger of someone who's been through hell and didn't break. The danger of someone who's no longer motivated by claps or validation, only purpose. You become dangerous when you're willing to do what others won't, when you're willing to say no, when you're willing to walk alone, when you're willing to look fear in the face and keep going anyway. So yeah, stay humble, but stay hungry. Keep your heart soft, but your focus hard. Keep your circle small, but your vision big. Stay rooted in purpose, but ready for war. This world will test you. It will poke at your weakness. It will try to soften you, distract you, tame you. But every day you get up and remind yourself who the hell you are, every day you keep your standards high and your excuses low, every day you show up even when it's hard, you become more unstoppable, more dangerous. You become the kind of person no one can box in, no one can predict, no one can outlast, because you're not chasing a win, you're chasing growth. And that is no finish line. So whatever you're building, whatever you're chasing, whatever fire is burning inside you right now, don't let it die. Fan the flames. Fuel it. Protect it. And remember this. Success isn't for the lucky. It's for the locked in. The ones who are hungry enough to start and dangerous enough to never stop. So go get it. Stay hungry. Stay dangerous. And never forget, you are the savage. Now, go make the world remember your name.